Good morning, everyone. This is Paul Combs with CourthouseDirect.com here in Houston, and I've got Zach White joining me. Say hello, Zach.
Hello, everybody.
We're going to be talking about our new title plant feature where we offer title plants by the hour. And so this is an idea that we had actually come up with some time back, and we had other projects we were working on, but we decided, okay, it's time to go ahead and implement this. And so we're really excited about this. And you may notice if you click on the title plant button that's on the top of the screen, it will bring you to this page right here where you can see that we have Texas and New Mexico information. You'll see a list of all the counties where we have title plants. There's a couple of counties on here I know people are looking for, which is Lee County and Eddy County, which are actually going to be added before today is out. And so we're going to talk about how to get started to be able to use the title plant, how to actually perform the search on the title plant, how you can build run sheets using the title plant. Also, you can download documents while you're in the title plant. You can also save those reports either to a Word document or to an Excel spreadsheet. And then also it's convenient to bill your clients. Just a reminder, you do have a question and answer box on your dashboard. So if you have any questions, those will be going over to Zach, and he'll be responding those at the end of the program. Also, too, if you notice on the bottom of the slide, you'll notice that the address for the title plants is CourthouseDirect.com/title plants. So a couple notes here, if you will. If you're a Plan 1 user, then you must upgrade to either a Plan 2 or Texas volume pricing to be able to use the hourly access. And there is a button here where you can just click on upgrade, and then it'll take you to the page where you can click to upgrade that service. And again, you must be logged on to be able to use the hourly access. Also, we have a lot of folks that subscribe to our title plants, maybe in certain counties where they're doing projects, but they have another need to be able to search in counties they're not doing the monthly plan in. Then you need to have a separate account for the hourly access versus the monthly plan. And so why would you want to use the title plants? Well, number one, the information is geographically indexed, which means that you can do your search faster. And then also, too, you can overlay the grantor-grantee search on top of the legal description search to really get better results. And then we have some incredible tools in here. One of them is the general search, which allows you to really find that needle in a haystack, which we're always trying to do in our business. And then you can also build these run sheets while you're searching, rather than writing down all this information or typing this information into some kind of a report. You're actually able to build the run sheet as you're performing your search. And then also convenient is the ability to download the documents right into the run sheet, which gives you hyperlinks to the documents themselves. And then you're also able to save those records or those searches to Excel or Word. That's key because as a title researcher or as an oil and gas landman, I may want to go ahead and pull the run sheet, and then I can go back at my leisure and read the documents and make the notes into Excel or into my Word document. And also, too, why would you want to use title plants? Because you get the best results available. So again, if you're overlaying the geographic search with the name search, then you end up with what I think to be the most high quality search you can end up with. For a lot of people know this, but we are the largest provider of title plant facilities in the state of Texas for title insurance. And about 3 or 4 years ago, we decided we really need to get into the oil and gas side of the business. And so we've added a ton of counties. We're up to 100 counties now where we have title plants in both Texas and New Mexico, and we have data in over 200 counties. So these are all counties that you might say are in the queue to be able to get to do searching in. So let's get started. I'm going to get out of this spreadsheet, and so now I'm on the what we call our onto the website where I can actually go and start doing some searching. Now, you saw where I pointed out the important notes there, and if you look down below there, it says let's get to work. Well, if I click on get started, this is a little hint on how to get started using the title plants. So I'm just going to go through these slides real quick. So essentially, if I want to get started, I can go in here and click on the search button. Again, I would need a Plan 2 or higher access. Once I click on the search button, then the clock starts, and you'll see the clock in the middle of the page, and you'll start on 60 minutes, and it'll go all the way down to 0 after an hour. And then what you would do is select the state and county for the research that you want to do. In this case, I might want to perform a legal description search where I put in the block and section in this particular county. I would get back my search results, and then I would add that to my run sheet. And then once the hour has expired, then if I wanted to purchase an additional hour, then I could simply click purchase additional hour from here. And then the key here, particularly for the landmen that need to charge their client, is the ability to get an invoice immediately whenever you place the service. Now, what we don't have here, which we hope to have in this next version, is where you would be able to put in the job number, the track number, the client name, so that you can charge it where the invoice has that particular client's name on it. So, but you can see the time that you started, the time that you ended, and that's an hour. And then certainly you should be able to be reimbursed just like you would if you walked into a traditional title plant where you signed in the book, and then when you left, you signed out of the book, and they handed you an invoice, and then you hand that to your client. So, and then the next button here says how to search. Well, it's kind of like anything. Once you learn how to do it, it's pretty simple. The first time you're on it, you may kind of get a little bit, there's a learning curve there. But essentially what you're doing is you're choosing the drop-down menu, and you're choosing the county that you want to search in. And once you've done that, you'll put in your track number or project number, whatever it is you want to track on this. That way you're able to be adding information into that same particular run sheet. And your options for searching are to search by a legal description for the property, which you would search either a subdivision, a survey. Perhaps you wanted to search only easements that are out of a certain abstract or survey. Or I wanted to look only for oil and gas related documents, I would use the lease search. And then the name searches is where you can use the grantor grantee, strictly look for deeds, strictly look for involuntary liens. Keeping in mind the people that are on this phone call today, it's a very diverse group of people. We have some people that are investors, some that are pure abstractors, some that are oil and gas landmen, some that are even private investigators, for instance. And everyone has a different need in terms of access to title plant and the efficiencies that they're going to gain by having access to this data. And these filtered searches allow you to, if you're looking for John Smith, who had involuntary liens in a county, certainly you could look through all the John Smiths, but if you could use the filtered search for only looking for involuntary liens in a county, that's a really great tool to be able to use. Same way with oil and gas leases. If I'm only looking for oil and gas related information in a particular area, then I can just search just that area. The general search, as I'll show you later, is a very powerful tool, and we'll cover that in just a little bit. And so you can search either by the survey or by the subdivision. And some counties, it's kind of the search page is kind of sewn together, if you will. But let's say, for instance, I'm searching by a survey. It's kind of hard to see, but I can see there's 623 results here. I can actually display up to 500 pages on a result. And then I can see wherever I've done the search, you can see kind of highlighted in the fifth column over the names. So you can search by the survey, the abstract, an acreage amount, subdivision name, or party name. And then if I'm searching for a subdivision, I would just simply put in the subdivision, the lot number, or the lot and block number, and then search that way. If you notice a note on the bottom, I'm saying less is more. So the less information you're entering, the more results you're going to get. that's important because let's say, for instance, I'm looking for a subdivision like Spring Forest, for instance. Well, there's a possibility that Spring Forest could, or the word forest could be abbreviated as FST. Well, if I typed in Spring Forest and spelled forest out, there's a chance I may not pick up everything. Now, if you're running the grantor-grantee search behind the legal description search, as I mentioned, you'll probably pick up that record. But again, less is more. You want to put in the less amount of information. If you get too many results, just add another character. So again, we'll close out of the search, and now let's look at building run sheets. So let's say, for instance, I've done my search. I'm ready to kind of keep moving and building the run sheets. You'll notice on the left-hand side where if I wanted to add all the information I have on the screen to my run sheet, I can click an Add All button, or I can go through and specifically pick the records that I want to add to this run sheet. And so again, you have the ability to display up to 500 records on a page. And a pretty cool tool is that this is a web page. So like, for instance, we typically recommend a Chrome browser. But if you just hold your control key down and hit your F button, that's your control find, you can actually search anywhere on this page just using the power of your browser. So that's a great hint. And it's something that was always there, and I actually probably started using it more often in the last year or two than I did before. But again, you can just add that information into the page, and once you've added this information into your report, now you're ready to view the report. So there's a button at the top that says View Report. Click on that, and I'm pulling up my report. Well, the first thing I want to do when I bring up my report, assuming that I've done a few searches and I've been adding this information in the report, I want to sort that information into chronological order. So I just click on the file date, and that will sort all the data chronologically. And now I want to pull the documents along the left-hand side. Again, if I click the little asterisk there, that will checkbox everything below. But I could, if I chose to do so, I could just click specific documents I want to read. And then below you see where it says Get Selected Documents. I would click on that, and then I'm actually viewing the documents themselves. And then along the right-hand side, you'll actually see the volume and pages, or the clerk file numbers for the documents, and then you just simply click on the document, and then you're viewing the document itself. Now, you notice that on the right-hand side, it says Copy, and then it has a pipe there, and then it says Image. Well, we built these databases for a lot of title insurance companies, and they wanted to add the capability for their searchers to be able to take these records and drop them in directly into a title commitment. And so where it says Copy, if you were to just left click on any of those records there, it actually copies that volume and page number and the hyperlink to the document. And if you're typing a legal description or something and you wanted to drop that into your legal with a hyperlink to the document, you have the capability to do that. Now, we know that's used pretty extensively on the title insurance side. Whether or not that would be applicable to you on your side, that I'm not really sure. So, let's close out of this part of it, and now let's look at saving the reports. So, to save the reports, really pretty easy. I've already done my run sheet. I've collected all the information that I want to collect, and I want to save this information. So, you notice at the top there's a button here that says Save to Excel, another button that says Switch to Print, another says Save to MS Word, and then also too you have the capability to choose to save these documents as TIFFs or PDFs. So you have a lot of options here on how you want to save the information. I know our Landman users typically like to save into an Excel spreadsheet, and when you save it into that Excel spreadsheet, of course you can create additional columns, or you may read a document and you determine that this really doesn't belong in my run sheet. You can just remove that particular row of information right out of your run sheet. So, and when you carry this over to your Excel spreadsheet, it's actually carrying the hyperlink to the documents themselves. And then if I wanted to copy and paste, let's say, this information into an email because I've got an attorney across town and I want to send this to him very quickly and I don't even want him to open an Excel spreadsheet, I could have my email open. I usually start at the bottom right-hand corner. It copies it a little more cleanly, but just copy, just like you would any copy and paste. Copy, drop it, paste it right into the body of your email, hit the send button, and whoever you're talking to on the phone, they can actually click on the hyperlinks and they're looking at the documents while you're talking to them on the phone. Pretty powerful. And then also too, as you're building these run sheets, you might say, you know what, I am going to save this as an Excel spreadsheet, but in the meantime, I might just want to email this to myself, because what you could do is you could email the document to yourself. And again, these all have hyperlinks. So you email the document to yourself, you're working on your Excel spreadsheet. Essentially, you've got your email open and you're just clicking on the documents in the email, opening the documents, reading them, and then making notes on your Excel spreadsheet. And the nice thing about that is when you're clicking on the Excel spreadsheet, you have to hold the control key down and then click enter to open the documents. But if you're clicking off of an email, then you're just clicking on the document, it opens automatically. So it's a nice little hint, if you kind of learn that you can kind of email the report to yourself, drop it into Excel, and then you essentially are able to just work just a little more efficiently by doing that. And so there's other report features that we have on here I just want to mention very briefly. One is you can remove selected instruments, and if you notice my note down below, I said use with caution, because once you hit that remove, click on the record and click the remove button, it's gone out of your run sheet. So you want to make sure that you're clicking the right record before you do that. Also, hint number 2 here is switch to edit mode. And this is actually pretty cool, because what you're able to do is you're able to kind of, and what I typically do is like hit that asterisk at the top and then click everything below. And then I click switch on edit mode. And before I kind of move my mouse to the right, I'll click on it again, and because I know I'm gonna save it all. And you go and you have a comment field. So in the comment field, you can read the document. You can say, 1/2 mineral interest reserved, or you could write in NA because it's not applicable, or you can put whatever you want in the comment field. You come back and hit the switch to edit mode, and you're able to save all that information right into your run sheet. And then hint number 3 is where, let's say, for instance, you're looking at a document and there was a misspelling on the legal description, or it was typed in as a lot 4, but it should have been a lot 14. Well, you can just click on the record, because you've already pulled the document and read it. Click on the record, go down where it says verify rekey, and you can make whatever comment you want to make. Click verify rekey. That immediately goes to our data entry department. They will make a correction to whatever that record is, and they'll send you an email saying that we've corrected the record, and in fact we'll give you a credit on that record if we've corrected it. And then also number 4 is where you can move around these run sheets. So let's say, for instance, I'm clicking on information, I'm going, okay, these really don't apply, or these really are easements, and I want to put them in another area of my run sheet. You can move the information or copy it over, so you've got some other features there too. So that's really kind of the end of a really quick look at the different tools that we have here. And now we want to go ahead and just log in to do a search. So again, you notice the search button right below the hourglass. I'm going to click on that. It's going to caution me and say, okay, are you sure you want to go ahead and spend the $75 to do the run sheet? Yes, I want to do that. I click purchase. And the beautiful thing about this is once I click that, immediately I'm going to receive an email, which is the confirmation of and the charge for what I'm doing here. And when that happens, it launches me into the title plan itself. Well, you can see the clock starts at 15 minutes here, just because this is our QA site or our test site. Typically, you would see 60 minutes, and then you'd see the countdown running from there. And then from here, I would choose the county that I want to do my searching in, and then from there, I would go ahead and start my searching. But let's say, for instance, I wanted to go to the historical area of our website. Now, you do need to subscribe to our historical area, but there is a button here. We also call it the file viewer, but you see where it says historical records. I want to look at some older records. Well, my clock is running here too. So you notice that I've got my clock running here, and I've got my clock running here. So now, if you're subscribed to the historical records or the file viewer, the clock is more of a reminder. There's no additional features that you're gaining but it just tells you that, hey, you may want to go back and finish your geographic search now, or your name search, because your clock is running here. So keep that in mind. So it just is more of a reminder than anything, and you can see how the clock is counting down there. But let's go ahead and do a couple searches here just to kind of show you the title plant. I'm actually going to let the clock kind of run on the hourly access, but let's just jump into the title plant real quick. So again, what you first would do is you would pick the state and county that you're interested in. So you notice when I click the drop down, this is a very large list of counties. And so as I'm kind of just scrolling slowly through these, maybe you'll see a county or two that you do some business in. And then we're going to just keep scrolling all the way through. And if you're looking for records that are in New Mexico, then if you go to the very bottom, you'll see the New Mexico counties. So let's go ahead and do a search, let's say in Reeves County. So let's just go to Reeves County, click Reeves County. And on the right-hand side, you see it says type or select GF number here. GF number is more of a term that's used in the title insurance business. And we built these title plants, we really built it for title insurance. So that type GF number, you could call that your job number, project number, whatever you want to call it. So I'm just going to call it, track 303. And I'm going to submit that. And by doing that, it's actually going to, you notice at the top now, we know that we're in Reeves County. We know the record starts in 1884. We know that it runs current through February 1st of 2019, and there's my track number that I'm working on. And again, at the top here, I could search by subdivision, survey, and do these other search or the general search and so on. But I want to search by survey. So I'm going to go in here under the section, and I'm going to put in section 14, and I'm going to put in a block number 59. And then I'm going to hit my search button. So when I'm searching this, you'll see it already tells me there's 273 results. And again, looking at the first result that we have here, it goes back to 1906 in this record. You'll see how the highlight of the colors there, it's telling me that it had a good hit on those colors. If you see the word view legals, that essentially means there's multiple legal descriptions on the property. And when you click on view legals, you'll be able to open and see all the legal descriptions that pertain to that particular record that's there. The reason we do that is because otherwise the run sheet becomes kind of unwieldy if you have so many legal descriptions in there. You know which section block you're working in, and once you see it there, you'll go, okay, yeah, this applies to me, so yes, I need to go ahead and order it. Now, also too, you notice that you have this drop down here, 100 through 500. Well, I can see I have 273 records, so I'm going to display 300 records. So now I'm going to have this whole page of records that's displaying here. Again, I mentioned earlier, if I hold my control key down and use the F button, if you look at the very top right-hand corner and I tap in the word mineral, if that's what I want to sub-search, you can see how it highlights mineral, the word mineral, all the way on the page. Or if I had a name that I was looking for Mr. Jones on this page, I could just go in here and put Jones. Go find Mr. Jones, and you'll see it highlights Jones wherever Jones shows up on the page. And if you look on the right-hand side, you'll see little yellow marks there, which is kind of a hint that, yes, it found these particular records. But let's add some documents to our run sheet here. So I'm just going to kind of at random add a few documents, and then I'll just kind of go down to the bottom here, and I'll add maybe a couple documents here. And then I'm adding this into my run sheet. So I've already added that information, and now I want to run a name, let's say, for instance. So I'm looking at this, let's say, for instance, this Scott Armstrong name. I'm just going to click on the name, and you'll notice it kind of opens up within this little box down here. Well, I'm going to take off the junior because I want to find all the Scott Armstrongs, and I'm going to even take off one of the T's on here and say search. So it's going to look through the entire database looking for all the Scott Armstrongs, and it's going to pull back quite a few records just because that's a fairly common name. You'll see how it's searching both the grantor and the grantee. So it's like a party search name, and I could search any of these. If I wanted to look for Pecos growers, I could click on that, say I want to search that, go search it, and probably not going to have as many results on a Pecos growers. But again, you can, this capability to be able to click on a name and just hit the search is pretty powerful. Actually, it's a lot of results there, 855 results. And then if I want to add information to the run sheet, then I'm just clicking on the records. Actually, what I want to do before I click anything on here, I want to just choose that drop down because I'm building a run sheet. I want to keep everything in the same run sheet, and I'm just going to click a few more records here. And now I'm ready to view my run sheet. So I'm going to click View Report right there, and then there's my run sheet, but it's no longer in chronological order. So I want to click on the file date. You notice right here in the middle, file date, puts everything back in chronological order. And then I want to pull my documents. So I just click on the asterisk here, say Get Selected Documents. It's going out to our image database. It's going and pulling the documents. And then if you look on the right-hand side, here's my documents. So I want to just, read the documents. I just open it. I'm reading it, adding whatever comments. Certainly, if you're working off a dual screen, you could open the documents on the screen on the right, and then you could just, read through the documents, whatever it is that you want to read through. And then also, too, I mentioned that ability to edit the information on the fly. So right here, if I just click Switch to Edit Mode, it looked kind of funny because you have all these boxes that are open here. But if I just kind of move my bar all the way to the right here, you're going to notice that there's a comment field. So if I'm reading this document and it was a 1/2 mineral interest reserved, then I can make the note there, or this is a vesting deed or whatever I want to make a note on. Go back here, switch back to edit mode, and then if I look on the right-hand side, these are my edits that I just made. Again, it's kind of like writing in the margins. That's the best way to describe it, And then again, if I wanted to report anything, I could click on one of these records, and I'm just going to put in the word test here, and then say verify rekey, and then it'll give me a little message up here and say thank you for submitting these records to be verified or rekeyed. So again, pretty handy if I want to move this data. Let's say, for instance, I read these 2 documents and I decided these did not apply. I could go in here on my drop down. I create a new area on my report, and I'm going to call it the NA area for not applicable, and I'm going to say move selected to. So what I've done is I've moved this into an area. It tells whoever I'm searching for, hey, I looked at these, I made a determination that it did not apply. And from here, let's say, for instance, I've built a good run sheet, I've looked at all my documents, I've made my edits, I want to save this, and I want to save it into an Excel. So I just go up here to Save to Excel, and then you notice it'll just drop, it'll open up the Excel spreadsheet, and there's my run sheet. And again, if I can kind of reduce this down just so you can see this a little bit better, but you can see along the right-hand side, you'll see the hyperlinks to the documents themselves, and you also have that comment field. So, and from here you can, I'm clicking on Enable Editing, where I can edit the record. Also, too, I think you can use these little shortcuts down at the bottom to kind of keep it all on the same page and make it look a little bit cleaner. I'm going to close out the Excel spreadsheet. Again, if I wanted to email this report to myself, I could go in here where it says Email Report, choose Paul Cones, click Email Report, and then I'm going to send that email report to myself. So, and in fact, here's the email receipt that I received whenever I signed up for the title plant. So you can see the time that I started, the time that my access ends, and then here's the report of the report that I just generated through the report that I just built. I want to view the document. I just simply click on the document, open it up, and I'm viewing the document itself. So you can see the efficiency that you can gain if you really kind of learn how to use the system here. So now again, we're in an oil and gas county when we're in Reeves County, but we want to jump into another county. Let's see where we are on our clock. 4 minutes left. So let's go into another county. So I'm going to click New Report. I'm going to say, it kind of stops me there and says, hey, do you want to monitor your searches? Now, I could, if I wanted to, choose to monitor searches and send me notifications when there's new data added to the area that I've been searching or the name that I've been searching. And I'm not going to go into that right now, but that's another feature on this what we call our advanced title plan. So I'm going to go new report, and now I'm going to pick another county. So again, keeping in mind that we've got these investors and people that do a lot of residential property that's on the phone with us. Let's say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Washington Street or something. So, however they would want to search this. And then I'm ready to do a search. So again, subdivision, let's go ahead and search that. I'm looking for Walnut Place. So I'm going to put in Walnut PL. Again, I could spell out place, nothing wrong with that, but I want to make sure that I want to keep this search as broad as possible, and I'm just putting in lot 1. So lot 1, block 1 for Walnut Place. So you can see it searching here. Because it's lot 1, block 1, it almost has to do more number crunching than it would if it's, something that's more unusual. So only 14 records, but it came back a little slower than maybe the one that came back with 300 records. So, and it's actually building a web page, and it just takes a second to do that. So I think the key here on any title plant, particularly what we do here, is that the fact that you're overlaying this legal description search on top of the name search, that gives you the assurance that you're finding everything that might be there. So it's the same way when I talk to a landman, they say, well, I had this one gentleman that approached me when we were sponsoring a AAPL event. He says, well, Paul, I'm going to tell these landmen not to trust online resources. I said, well, if a landman can do 90% of their work or 95% of their work using an online resource like this, and if the client requires that you go into the courthouse, then the time you spend in the courthouse is going to be nominal. So that's the key here. These are tools that allow you to be more effective. So I want to build a run sheet here. I'm going to click the Add All button, so that adds all that information in there. I've got a party name that I want to search, which is this Anil Menon. I want to run that name. It shows a few records here. Well, I'm only interested in the ones in Walnut Place, so I'm just going to choose on my drop-down Walnut Place, add these records. Now, I've got a release here that might be my Walnut Place, so I'll add that. I'm ready to view my report. I could, if I wanted to, maybe find, maybe look at when this Will Lucker had bought the property. Keep in mind that you're in a report area or in the advanced title plant. You see I'm kind of tabbing through the two. In the report, you're not able to just click the record and search it. You do that through in the advanced plant. But I'm ready to view my report, or pull my documents, I should say, and I'm just going to click on the asterisk here, go down here, get selected documents. It's going to go out to our image database. I see all the documents on the right-hand side, and then I can read the documents. I want to save this, and then in the case of most of our title company users, they like to save this into a Word document. So I'm going to just go ahead and open a Word document and drop it there. Landmen like the Excel spreadsheet, and the format here is not beautiful, so I would want to change that into a format that's a little easier to read. So I can look at that, and there's all my records, and I can make whatever notes or add a column or whatever I want to do. So again, I'm going to minimize that because I don't want to be in the Word document anymore, and then I'm ready to maybe do my next search. So again, the efficiencies that you're gaining by being able to perform that legal description search, overlay that with the name search is just great stuff. Look, 7 seconds, 5 seconds left on the title plan. So now when it zooms down here and goes all the way down to 0, it's going to say, do you want to purchase another hour? And on here, I would say, yeah, I do. I've got more research I want to do, so I'm going to go ahead and purchase another hour. If I said do not purchase, then, but I wanted to go back, well, if I say purchase, then it will just allow me back in, sorry. So, but what I was going to say on the do not purchase, I would need to log back in to be able to look at my report again. So I kind of messed up there a little bit, but because people may say, oh, I'm in the middle of a search and I lost it. Well, you didn't really lose it. It's just you won't be able to, if you see the drop-down list, the drop-down list won't be here. But you will be able to pull your report back up. And there'll be a button here that just says pull report. It's kind of an orange button to kind of stand out from the other buttons. And you'd be able to click on it and you'd be able to pull up whatever report you've been building. So you haven't lost it, even though you know you know even though you ran out of time. So I think that's really all I wanted to cover. Oh, let me do this because I want to show you the general search. It's just, this thing is so powerful. So in the general search, I know a little bit of information. I know that's a 30.2 acre tract in Harris County. So I'm going to search Harris County for a 30.2 acre tract, and you see it comes back with 286 results. And I can go through these and look through everything I'm looking for, or what I could do is click on that general search again. It keeps that information in there. I'm going to hit a plus sign and say, well, go find everything that's out of the Finney survey. So I'm typing in Finney, go match everything with 30.2 with Finney, and you're going to see how it highlights only those things where Finney matches the 30.2. So again, the capability to be able to put in an acreage amount and then match that against whatever criteria that I'm looking for is so cool. So for instance, right here, I see that word Valone coming up in a 30.2, VAL, Valone. I'm going to put in just put in VALLO, go find everything that matches, and it finds those two matches there. So again, that capability to be able to very quickly get to whatever you need is fine. So I'm going to go ahead and turn to Zach and see if he has any questions. I can see there are some questions coming up here. So Zach, go ahead and hit me.
Yeah, so one of them, I think you might have covered this earlier, but the first one is does file viewer access come with the $75 title plan access?
The file viewer does not come with the $75 access, although that's something that we're working on diligently on our side, is to make the file viewer part of that. Now, and one reason I'm excited about that, if I do look at the historical documents, and you don't see this because you'd have to subscribe to this particular service, but there's a lot of counties where we have data. So for instance, let this initialize, and then if I look at, let's say for instance, Dallas County. Well, if I click on Dallas County, and I can see the title plants that we have here that are not available to the general public, but they're incredible title plants. So I could go in here and I'm just at random just picking up a few records here, but you don't see this, and it's hidden because you have to subscribe to the back plant for Dallas County. And but if I'm a surveyor and I'm trying to find an old right-of-way in Harris County that's out of the John Taylor survey, abstract 72, I could go in here and say, okay, I'm looking for abstract 72 in Harris County. It's such a large county, we've actually broken it down into two counties, or two folders here. And you know what? That doesn't look beautiful when you look at some of this, but for a title researcher and abstractor, this is like the most gorgeous thing you've ever seen in your entire life. I mean, knowing that I can drill down to an area and find whatever that record is I'm looking for, and you can see the track book here where you're following the track numbers. This is what we call a worked out survey versus an unworked survey. But and you can see these records that, you know, that's 1841 is that first record there. So go ahead. What else you got, Zach?
Okay, so and I'm glad that you mentioned that because one of the other questions was about accessing older plants. So the next one I have is, do you offer access for a longer period than an hour, maybe like monthly per se?
Yeah, you know, absolutely. And if you look at now, I'm logged in, so it probably will want me to log off here. But so if I log off here and I'm looking for just click on the pricing button here, and I go down the bottom, you'll see the geo-index title. That was a terminology we used which we're kind of just calling it title plants now. But if I click on title plants, you can see if someone wants access to a county on a monthly basis, $500 a month plus $50 a user. But we do give you a pretty good discount on your copies where it drops down to $1.50 a doc. There are a few companies that they want statewide access because they've got people working all over the state of Texas and New Mexico, and then we have that kind of a statewide access where you get access to all counties. And that's actually a good point as I'm thinking about it. When you get into the hourly access for the title plant, you'll notice when I go in here, you get all the counties. So you're not just going into one particular county. You get access to every county that we have available. And again, I'm making my point, and I may have skipped over it a little bit on the last question, but what we want to do, again, as a data aggregator, we want to make this data available, all of our data available to as many people as possible. So your capability to go into a Dimmitt County and use that back plan, or go into Harris County and use the back plan, or Wise County, or all of those very wonderful resources that we have. We want to open that thing up as much as possible, and that's our goal, and that's kind of phase 2 of our project, is to give you access to all those older records, for back plants. And what we propose to do is actually allow you to view the documents while you're in that back plan area too. So you're not, it's all part of your $75 is to view. But go ahead, Ethan. What else you got?
Yeah, so this is kind of pertains to billing. So we saw that the invoice came through immediately for access to the title plant. At what point are the documents charged for what you downloaded during that $75 hour session? At what point are they downloaded?
Right. So if I'm in here and I want to add a document here, you see where I'm going to click Add All, and now I want to view my report. So actually I'm out, so I probably need to start over again. But when I'm in the report area of the site where I click Get Selected Document, that's when the charge takes place. And that's why you want to be a little bit careful. If you click Select All, and then you go down to the bottom and say Get Selected Documents, then you're going to be paying for all those documents. And that's also where it's kind of critical about your pricing plan for your documents. So if you're on a plan 2, you can access that hourly access, but you're paying $4.75 a document. So you want to switch over to Texas Volume. If you know you're going to pull a lot of documents, then you can switch over to Texas Volume Pricing, and you can switch back anytime. So for instance, if you got a project you're working on for the next 2 weeks, and say, okay, well, I'm going to switch back. Now we're going to charge you for whatever you bought during that when you were on plan 2. But if you wanted to switch back to plan 1, then you can do that. So we're trying to be flexible in there and allowing you to kind of be on the pricing plan for documents that really is going to be the biggest savings for you.
Awesome, thank you. I've got one more here for you. And we talked about the retrieving of reports. So this person's asking, basically, if they ran a search today, built a report, would they be able to come back next week and build it, or retrieve that report if they needed to?
That's important in that if you do not log off, you will be able to go back and get your report. If you do log off, then you would need to pay to get back in. So, which is, at some point maybe we'll think about how we could make that available, to someone that comes back a week later or 2 weeks later or something like that. Again, we're at the early stages of this, in some ways, of this development, but so those are the kind of comments we appreciate, and maybe that's something that we can work on. I did see one question here as I'm looking at the questions. Someone asked, can you pause the clock? And unfortunately, you cannot. Once that clock starts, it's counting down, and if you so you need to you need to be ready to search when you're on here. And so, but again, what's kind of good, really, when you think about it, is that if you have an hour to search on this title plant, it doesn't matter what county you're in, Reeves County, Glasscock County, it doesn't matter. I mean, when you go in here and if you know what you're ready to search, you know the section block or you know the survey name or whatever, you can go in here and do all your searching. And then you say, okay, I've done my search, I've got my run sheet. Now I need to go look at the documents. And if you're signed up on the historical area, let's say there's not a clock here because you're signed in on your regular historical access, then you go over here to Reeves County and you say, okay, I need to read these documents. You just go in here and you start reading your documents. So you're getting best of both worlds. That is, you're able to get your run sheet, get that built and ready to go, and then and if you've got time left on your hour, certainly you could go in here and just view the documents if you chose to do that. But you could also just choose to excuse me, have the run sheet available, and then go in and read the documents that you want to read. So it's kind of, and once we have the the historical area tied into the current plant, then that'll be more of a non-issue. But again, you can kind of jump back and forth if you choose to do that.
Excellent. Thanks. And I have another question here. Do you have plans to expand your coverage to other counties in Texas, New Mexico, and or other states?
What we're data aggregators. So we're aggregating data in as many counties in Texas and New Mexico as we can. We would like to be in other states, but some states make it very difficult to acquire public records. And you probably know this if you're a landman in the field and you're trying to get data, in a courthouse where if you pull out your iPhone, they run you out of the courthouse, So that's really the challenge outside of Texas. But within Texas and New Mexico, we are the largest data aggregator of data. We actually are the largest provider of title plants for title insurance in Texas, and as far as providing the data. And so yes, it's kind of our goal is to expand more outside of Texas. Right now, we've got plenty on our plate with Texas and New Mexico, but certainly we appreciate if you know of any data laying around, let us know. We'll be happy to go get it.
Awesome. All right, so that's those are the ones I see that look pretty good. You have anything else?
As I'm looking here, Zach, I'm noticing that we do have a button down at the bottom here that says Quick Step for searching. You have to be logged in to be able to see this, but it's kind of a little bit dated in that this was kind of our earlier website and not what we call our advanced title plant. But we will be adding a button here that says Training Manual, and when you open it, it'll be a PDF, and you'd be able to download it for future reference. But just kind of keep that in mind that when you see that button change to Training Manual, it'll be a more comprehensive set of information. So, and I see another question here. What date does your plants cover in the county? You want to answer that, Zach?
Yeah, certainly. So if you're looking for the title plant dates, they vary, of course, county by county, but you can find those on our main page of Courthouse Direct. And generally it's under, I drew a blank here, but it's generally under the search page where you can see the coverage from the grant or grantee page, and those dates are congruent between the counties that are title plants and the ones that are on the main page of Courthouse Direct.
Yeah. So as Zach is speaking there, I'm kind of navigating over here. So you can see if you drill down to the county level, you can see the date range for grantor-grantee indexes, document images, and that geo index. If you just kind of think geo index equals title plant. Again, we were providing these title plants for title insurance industry, and we sold that part of our company, the title insurance side, although we continue to maintain databases for title insurance, and that was kind of the differentiation. Was geo index just meant title plant in our terminology, but you can see the dates here. So it's just a matter of kind of drilling down to the state and county, and then you'll be able to see whatever date range we have for that particular county and the data that we have for the county. And if you're wondering how what records we have that are in the historical area, you can also go in here and click on this coverage button, and you'll be able to see, okay, what is the data that we have in that particular data. You just go down to the folder, and you'll be able to see kind of the date ranges in there. So again, what I did there was just go to the file viewer and then click on that Texas, New Mexico coverage, and then that's what pointed me over there. So I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up. We're probably not able to answer all the questions that are being asked today, but we really appreciate everybody being online. We're more than happy to do some additional training if y'all would like. Certainly, we're open to that. So just email us, let us know, get your crew together, put them in get them all online, and then we can do some individual training too. But your time is really appreciated, and we look forward to working with you. And if there's anything we can do on our side, just let us know. Thank y'all.
Thanks.